Now that was sick, but my problem is, where's the realism? We all know the Yasuo skin is going to look cool when he pulls that off. I want to see what the Yasuo skin looks like when he inevitably wind walls sideways, gets hit by the charm, and is dead on the ground spamming his mastery.
And what's it look like with a black and white filter on the screen? We know that's where many of the Yasuos will be looking at it from. But it's good to have you back here with us. You are just in time for game number 4, pitting the Golden Guardians up against TSM. I am Clayton Captain Flowers Reigns, joined by the co-caster with the most ferocious posse behind him, Isaac Azale Cummings Bentley. Check out the man's Instagram. He's got lots of cute pets and good ideas for Yasuo, very obviously. Let's go ahead and take a look at the starting rosters here. Selecting the blue side, we've got the Golden Guardians with Hauntzer in the top lane, Contractz in the jungle, Froggen at mid with Deftly and Olleh bottom lane and support with coaches Jimmy and Potluck.
And challenging them on the red side today, it's going to be TSM. In the top lane, Broken Blade. In the jungle, Akaadian. Mid laner, Bjergsen. Bot and support going to be Zven and Smoothie with coaches Zix and Goldman.
Now, these two teams are two of those teams that were competing to maintain their first place spots yesterday. They could not keep up in those battles, but they were at least competitive against their respective opponents.
Yeah, they were certainly very competitive. These games have kind of come down to small execution errors. The league is really close right now, so these small moments, small mistakes can easily cost you a game.
And both Bjergsen and Froggen, the mid laners on these squads, had huge moments of their own in those losses trying to fight against that tide.
Yeah, Froggen had a really strong Vel'Koz game. I think played very, very well for the team, but it did kind of come down to this final moments around the Baron. And likewise, Bjergsen, playing very well on the Syndra. Certainly his signature pick did show up well yesterday against Skarlet in his debut, but it came down to that one big team fight where Skarlet was able to take down Zven and win the game off of that. And meanwhile, Akaadian here still hunting for his first win of the season. He is actually 0-3 in the games that he has played. Grig is sitting at 4-0. I don't think that this is, purely like it's all his fault in those games he lost. I think he has been performing pretty well, but for whatever reason, the team is not winning when he has been on stage thus far this split.
And TSM clearly still has faith in him as a player as well. If the team and the coaching staff thought that it was clearly just an Akaadian issue and Grig winning and Akaadian losing was only because of those players, Akaadian wouldn't be in right now.
Yeah.
The fact that he's still playing means they have faith in them. Both these teams still at the top of the standings, not directly in first, but still in that upper echelon. 4-3 for both of them. A win here is going to keep you towards the top of the table going into week number 5 towards that second round robin. Let's see how they do it. Lots and lots of support bands. Azale, Yuumi, Sona, Karma, and Tom Kench all band to win.
Yeah, the quad support band coming through here in the first phase. And TSM would also love to get a win to build some confidence going in towards Rift Rivals, where there is going to be some very fierce competition coming over from the LEC. So trying to avoid that 0-2 week here is TSM. And yeah, it can kind of be a complicated situation where you're not exactly sure why is it that we're losing when Akaadian is on stage. And sometimes it can be a little bit dangerous if you continue to kind of start to snowball these losses. Confidence can get hurt. People just start kind of feeling like, oh, well, maybe it's not going to work, or maybe, we should be playing the other guy. And then that's just something that they're really trying to avoid. They really want to get a win under their belt here with Akaadian and start to kind of build that confidence back up.
I really like this first pick from the Golden Guardians, locking in the Aatrox, most likely for Hauntzer. Remember, both of these top laners, Hauntzer and Broken Blade, yesterday played Gangplank into Aatrox, and unfortunately were not as effective as their top lane counterparts as the games went on. Golden Guardians will remedy that immediately by grabbing the Aatrox for themselves. The response from TSM will be Jayce and Lux.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong opening duo here. And TSM is one of the squads that can flex around this Jayce. They certainly do have the ability to actually play that mid lane if they so desire. So we'll see if that is going to be going top, but that's most likely where it would end up. Top lane for Broken Blade, very likely into the Aatrox from Hauntzer. That is being played mostly top lane these days, and it is going to be Sivir and Nautilus on the bottom side. Sivir really has risen in priority. Not high enough to be getting a lot of bans, but it's almost always picked these days. Such a safe laning phase, is able to really farm very effectively and wave clear in the mid game if you want to play side lanes. The team fight late game is great, and it also enables a lot of these melee champions with the ultimate that are so popular these days.
And if the Lux is going bottom for Smoothie, you're almost guaranteed to see the aftershock on it going up against something like the Nautilus to make sure the all-ins from the side of Golden Guardians will not simply spell death for the TSM bottom laners who, if that is a bottom lane Lux, have a very ferocious, very long-range duo with Caitlyn rounding that out.
Yeah, and it's such a strong siege composition already starting to take form here from TSM. Jayce, if he does so choose to group, you can look to poke with the Lux, the Jayce, as well as this Caitlyn. We have seen this sort of composition be used very effectively also by some of the other teams. Power of Evil on CLG liking to pair this alongside things like a Victor to help even zoning out, off of those turrets. You can drop Illusion Singularity on one side, you can drop Caitlyn traps on the other, you can use things like Pillar and the Gravity Field and all these different tools to really make it tough to wave clear.
Area control is such a powerful tool to utilize in League of Legends, especially when you have enough of it to, as you're describing, just block off so many different avenues to potentially enter into a fight. And yeah, if you can block out 3 out of 4, there's still 1 left, but now you know the only way your opponents can engage. You can plan around it, you can play around it, and the game becomes so much more under your control.
Yeah, and if they have to filter through one predestined entrance, well, guess what? It's super easy to hit skill shots too, right? You're then funneling through into a Lux binding, you're funneling through into these different tools that can make it even more difficult. TF taken off the table, something that has been rising in popularity in this split. Bjergsen has brought out the AD build. We saw that again yesterday from some of the other teams that have also been playing it. Crown has also been playing APTF, and I think it's a really fun champion to watch.
I really like TSM's bans here in the second phase, getting rid of the Akali to dive onto these vulnerable backliners, while also taking the Olleh out of the picture so he can't just run through those zones of control. Switching back and forth between a couple of junglers, and it looks like we're gonna see Akaadian on the Skarner this time around.
All right, Skarner coming out here, becoming very popular in this meta, and will be interesting to see, how he's going to be able to perform here. I do think already, if the Aatrox is diving in, that is a champion that you can grab up and really kind of just use that more defensively for the peeling. That can be quite effective. Trundle, generally considered a pretty good answer into the Skarner and is going to be the pick. The Pillar really does help to dissuade even those Predator engages as you are running forward. Pillar him out, big AoE slow around that. And Anivia is an absolute nightmare for these kind of one-dimensional run-at-you type champions.
Oh, I know.
You're going to get pillared out, you're going to get walled out, and melee champions can really, really struggle in those types of cases. So now it is up to Bjergsen. He's going to have the final pick here into this Anivia, and we have to see, where does he want to go? Is it going to be a lane focus pick? Is it something to round out the composition instead? Looking like it will be, more for that late game, trying to draft towards that team fight, utilize this Azir to kind of secure that late game, and also to help deny some of the potential engages coming through here. Aatrox, Trundle, Nautilus, all trying to pile in. The Azir ultimate can shove them back out, can help to disengage, keep that space for your Caitlyn, for your Jayce, and they have a very powerful siege type composition here over on the side of TSM. But that being said, 2 really powerful wave clear champions over on Golden Guardians to help dissuade that. The Anivia, fantastic wave clear. Sivir as well, fantastic wave clear. So TSM is going to have to try to zone those champions off the turrets before they can really get access to them.
And talking about zoning, we already went over the Caitlyn and the Lux synergy in terms of area control. Azir adds to that even further, as you've mentioned. On the opposite side, you've got 2 different forms of terrain creation, as well as the Anivia ultimate. Both of these squads are so well equipped to manipulate the battlefield and make sure their opponents are moving in specific places at specific times. So much of this game is going to come down to who executes those abilities better.
It certainly will, and I also think, when you are running this Caitlyn Lux, a lot of it can often come down to the laning phase. Can you be able to actually dominate that lane? Get the tempo in your favor, take down that bottom lane turret early, and then start to move around the map, pile up those turrets, pile up that global gold for yourself, because that is really what Caitlyn wants to be doing. You do not want to be trading farm against the likes of a Sivir, who is going to be a monstrously strong carry later in the game.
Also, a lot of that faith being placed in Akaadian here by TSM. That Skarner is going to be your main engage this time around. Yes, you have some Lux bindings. Yeah, you've got the Azir potential to go in for the Shurima shuffle, but more often than not, it's going to be up to this singular frontliner to make everything happen here for this long-range artillery squad of a composition, and that means Akaadian needs to be on point here.
And we'll see if he's going to be able to execute here for TSM, grab himself his first win, and keep TSM in that hunt for first place. And they're looking for an invade here on the bottom side. Definitely able to just walk it out. And, will stay safe there. He did not skill anything, so if that binding was on target, he still could have actually skilled the spell shield and just used that instead of his flash. I do like the attempt for TSM, though. Very little cost to doing those sorts of plays, and sometimes you will be rewarded with a flash or maybe even that kill.
Nothing too crazy going on here at level 1. Looking into the top side, I will point out something a little bit unusual. The Aatrox going for Electrocute as opposed to the Conqueror that you so often see on the champion. Wants to have a little bit more burst potential when he gets on top of this Jayce.
Yeah, exactly. So there's kind of a couple different thought processes here. If you are going Aatrox, there's Conqueror, which is more for the extended trades. You can look at something along the lines of Grasp for kind of quick melee trades where you're going to be constantly able to stack that up. Comet is more for the poking. Electrocute is generally considered for the all-in. That is looking for that kind of one-punch combo where you're going all in on top of him. You're trying to block the Electrocute and burst down the Jayce. And that is because you're not going to be able to have long extended trades with that ranged champion. He's generally going to be kiting you back and forth. You can also see over on the other side, this is the Airy, which is pretty lane-focused here for Broken Blade. Airy Scorch is about as lane-focused as you generally get for Jayce. It does end up having you in a situation where you have a lot of poke, you have a lot of pressure in the early game, and that is why you see Hauntzer also resolve secondary, Doran Shield, to try to help with that sustain and withstand this poke so that he can farm under his turret.
Pretty much mandatory to have such a start going up against a champion like Jayce that is going to bully 90% of lane matchups in the early phases of the game. You can see Broken Blade taking early command of the wave right now, zoning Hauntzer away from it, and that'll be the story of things here for a little while. We're looking at the junglers. Both started off on the bottom side. Akaadian going for the full clear through his jungle, while you're going to see Contractz making a bit more of a speedy trip towards the top side, as Froggen has lost quite a bit of HP here in the mid lane.
Yeah, he really has. And Bjergsen, this is a build you may have been seeing recently with the comment. This kind of new style is your build. It is less about the attack speed. It is generally a Luden's Rush into Sork Boots. You are Q-maxing as normal, but you have Comet, and it's all about how much poke can you actually do. It's less about the sustained damage. He's waiting for his smite, but that is a little bit of an oopsie as it does reset.
Gotta be careful about those there. Broken Blade in some trouble. Flash over the wall, he'll stay safe.
Yep, and he is a trade of flashes there. Still, I would say a good gank from Contractz, especially, Akaadian a little bit behind the curve as his smite wasn't quite up. He was trying to actually kite it out and wait for that smite, but it didn't come up in time, so did have to allow that to reset. And that is a little cute mind game that you can see. You'll notice that Smoothie threw out the Lucent Singularity, that E, and then didn't detonate it. Deftly basically has to pop the spell shield, and then Smoothie doesn't want to detonate it to give him the mana back. So you're kind of trying to bait that out and playing this mind game back and forth of when you think they may detonate it, will they do it at all? And it's kind of this little fun interaction that Sivir can have with Lux in the lanes.
One of the original mini games in League of Legends. People talked about a lot of champion reworks like the Fiora changes and the Skarner changes with Vitals and Spires introducing mini games in, but the Sivir spell shield's always been one of those existing in the game for the longest time. Some damage finding its way onto Olleh here in the bottom side. And remember, the story about Olleh has just been Kench or no Kench for this guy and for the Golden Guardians. It seems like him being on that pick has been so paramount for the Golden Guardians finding success, and they're really hoping they can get to the point where it's not quite as mandatory for them to pop off.
Yeah, 3 of their 4 wins, I do believe, have come on that Tahm Kench. They were able to get another win, I believe it was on Nautilus, if I'm recalling correctly. But he hasn't had those standout games, and they're going for the all-in.
Smoothie's in some trouble here. Shields himself up. He'll stay alive. The Ignite comes down from Olleh. No summoner spells expended there by TSM. Means they'll at least come out of that better off in that.
Yeah, so, you know, you are down health, and if they can get a re-engage.
Once again, Olleh going in, not afraid at all of this TSM duo. He'll grab some more health off of Zven, shove the wave up, and that means Olleh's got the opportunity to go back to base.
Yeah, so a couple nice hooks there from Olleh, you know, maintaining some lane pressure, but they are down a fair bit as far as the farm goes. Lux and Caitlyn going to be able to kind of poke them and harass them quite a lot here. Contractz now looking for a potential gank over to Bjergsen, but as long as Bjergsen is saving a soldier, has a charge of that W, it's an easy disengage, and you can see
right there.
That is why he kind of holds on to that. You know, if you're wondering why is he dropping multiple soldiers for the additional damage, it's to always have one in reserve for that retreat. But yeah, this is your build, is more power focus, as we're going to see another engage on the bot side, but Smoothie should be able to disengage, and a nice trade back.
Olleh just does not stop, but TSM is not going to allow him to get away with it for free just like that. They'll put a lot of damage right back into the Nautilus. Make sure he stays nice and low HP, so he's afraid to do that again. Top side, Broken Blade going in onto Hauntzer here, able to find some nice damage down onto that Aatrox, who is out of sustain. No potions left in inventory, means Dorian shield's all he's got to regen.
Yeah, and this is always a bad spot when you are kind of low under your turret, but Broken Blade not having flash has to respect the fact that the jungler could be making a trip up there, so that will buy Hauntzer time to actually farm out that wave, despite the fact that Trundle was not actually around. So, you know, that kind of earlier gank buying him that pressure. And it is actually Hauntzer ahead on farm, which is, you know, certainly a nice position for them to be in. Contractz going to be spotted in the ward and should have actually seen it expire right beside him. So we'll know that they have an idea of where he could be on the map for the next couple of minutes.
Contractz also having his challenging smite up means that there's no way Akaadian can fight him right now. Even if you're on the Skarner Spire, if Trundle has challenging smite and a level up on you, he's going to beat you when you have no way to fight back against that. If you look at Akaadian's inventory, only just now going back to base to purchase those Predator boots, so at least he's online with his Keystone. But Contractz takes this opportunity to move into the TSM jungle, steal away one of these camps, grab those chickens, leave the two baby ones alive, just make sure the camp resets a little bit more slowly, be a little bit more of a pain in the butt for Akaadian there. As you can see, Golden Guardians are off to a very slight gold lead due to the advantages they've built themselves in terms of farm, mostly in the jungle and the top side.
Yep, mostly on that top side of the map for sure. Bottom lane, though, doing all right, as Deftly on Olleh here. You know, I think largely in part to Olleh and the kind of pressure that he has put on. Have been holding pretty strong. They've lost one turret plate thus far, but you know, as Sivir gets more levels and items, it can get more and more difficult to actually keep Sivir under her turret. She certainly, you know, really ramps up in that wave clear, and you know, Hauntzer holding strong on this top side is going to be feeling really good about his position in this lane thus far. You know, early tabby's complete. Does have some of that defensive setup that I had talked about, and he's going to be looking pretty good going forward.
We're not even just looking at Hauntzer out-farming a lane opponent 1v1. We're looking at him out-farming a lane opponent 1v1 when it's a Jayce. This is a champion that normally you look at and say, yeah, if he's not 15 or 20 CS ahead, he's not actually winning the lane because of the nature of Jayce. So what do you say when he's 10 CS behind?
Yeah, and I mean, you do have to remember that it was a forced flash from the gank, so that is certainly playing into it. And, you know, it's hard to play aggressive and bully your opponents when you don't have the flash, because then you become so susceptible to those ganks. So that has played into it. But regardless, Hauntzer is going to be feeling really good about his positioning. As you say, generally in most matchups when I'm playing in a Jayce, if I'm even, I feel like I'm winning. If I'm ahead, I feel like he's getting slammed. You know, it is certainly the pressure on the Jayce to really be able to make things happen in those early levels. Generally, Jayce wants to play out the game from ahead, but Contractz, again, up here to that top side, going to be zoning him off a couple of those minions, and we'll see how they want to utilize it, because this isn't necessarily going to be like a full-on hardcore split-push Jayce game. This can very likely just be Jayce building up a lethality build and then grouping to poke with his team and utilizing the Jayce more for a siege situation than a full-on hardcore split-push. So I do think it's less required that he is dominating the 1v1 when you are playing this sort of a strategy.
You can see Akaadian was aware there that Contractz and Hauntzer had moved up into his jungle to steal that red buff away, but considering you're only a Skarner, your mid lane and your top lane are both pressured, you don't really have any ability to fight against this because your Spire had already been captured about 30 seconds beforehand. There's no way he's possibly going to contest that when you just get pillared if you walk too close, so Akaadian has to concede that objective. But now, TSM, they seize the opportunity to go to the bottom half of the map. They'll grab the Cloud Drake, and that is a nice early pickup there for them.
Yeah, the additional move speed is going to be really nice. You know, playing for those ganks for the Skarner, but also playing around the side lanes for the rest of the team. I've really felt ever since they added the in-combat move speed that the Air Dragon has become quite powerful. So
yeah, I like
certainly a pretty nice pickup there for TSM, and going to be happy to get something back on the bottom side, because it has been mostly Contractz spending his time on the top side. He has gotten that slight farm advantage and does have the early Cinder Hulk completion here now, so Trundle's certainly at a pretty strong point in the game, and we've been seeing so much Trundle coming back into the meta as he's going up mostly against tank junglers, and big Olleh here, Olleh.
Good lord, man, Olleh is out of there. First blood, TSM.
Yeah, that CC chain just knocking him down. They didn't have any defensive summoner to really keep him alive. Binding into trap, into the 90 caliber net for the headshot. A ton of damage, and they are able to just straight up burst down Olleh. A nice 2v2 kill there for Zven and Smoothie, but yeah, I mean, Trundle just fits so well into this meta when there's a lot of hyper carries being played out of the bot lane. You know, you match up well into other tank junglers. You are making their frontline less tanky and yourself more tanky with your ultimate so they can shred through them. And then you build very well into things like Knight's Vow and Zeke's, these supportive items to buff out your kind of super carry in the bottom lane. Here this is going to be one more time. Olleh going for the ward clear here. You know, pretty bold. Thought he would be okay with the shield, but Lux ultimate, binding, trap out of that. You got headshot for the trap, second headshot with the 90 caliber net reset. He hits the Piltover Peacemaker. That is a full combo, and alt autos were weaved in by Smoothie, you know, for the loose kind of spark there.
Ooh, Contractz stepping a little bit too far forward. Gonna be found out there. A nice pull. Means Smoothie's gonna find the second kill of the game here for TSM.
Yeah, they were not expecting him up here. Now Bjergsen.
Froggen's gonna be shuffled back right towards TSM now as well. The egg will only delay the inevitable, and TSM are 3-0.
TSM really ramping it up in this last minute. Kill on the bottom side. Smoothie then running straight top to help his team get two more. The early Mobies here on Smoothie kind of catching Golden Guardians by surprise, I think. I don't think they were really expecting that Lux support would just be straight up roaming top like that. So a really nice move from Smoothie, and now Broken Blade trying to knock him into the turret.
Broken Blade will find that knockback, but Hauntzer can still get himself away from the fight. Broken Blade doesn't want to take this one any further, and I also have to criticize Contractz a bit. He went straight into enemy territory. Yes, he wanted a ward, but walking up that far alone when the enemy is a Skarner that has Predator and Flash and Ultimate, if anybody's waiting around, you are dead. Speaking of dead, Hauntzer trying to turn this one back around onto Broken Blade here. Able to find the first hit of the queue, looking for even more. Doesn't want to commit anything else here, and Broken Blade disengages that fight.
Yeah, that was played out pretty well by Broken Blade, forcing the ultimate, then jumping back, getting away. And yeah, you know, Contractz certainly did end up getting punished, but I don't think he had any idea the Lux was there. And if it is just the Skarner, you're not worried, but now Broken Blade.
Broken Blade forced to flash away in the 1v1. Froggen wants to finish him off if he can, but he won't be able to get there in time. No flash available for the Golden Guardians mid laner means there was no flash wall play. Couldn't cut him off.
They might be able to just get the turret here, though. There was only 2 plates left on that top side, so TSM trying to make a counterplay down here on the bottom lane. Akaadian and Smoothie here, and Olleh gonna face check.
Akaadian not quite with the ulti ready to go just yet. Flash away from Olleh to keep himself alive. But now he's stranded underneath the turret. 1 versus 5. He's just waiting for death to come for him. Good night, sweet prince. TSM finding number 4.
Yeah, but in the meantime, their 2 members top get the first turret. It's 5 bot for TSM. Trundle is pushing mid, so Golden Guardians is actually getting a decent bit back with this. They may come out ahead on the play, despite losing the 1 man. It's double teleport, and Deftly, what are you doing up there?
Have no idea why Deftly stuck around that long. Akaadian waiting for the spell shield to go away, making sure he gets the pull. It's exactly how you play Skarner against Sivir, and that's a free kill going over to TSM. You cannot be giving those away.
Yeah, Deftly had no business walking up like that. You have to go up the turret knowing there were so many members from TSM bot, but he goes forward and gives up his life as well as the flash. The play honestly would have been pretty good for them overall, despite going down 1 kill, because they got first turret, because they got some plates mid. But, you know, that extra kill going over is pretty detrimental. So here is Olleh trying to get a ward. They see that this is coming and definitely makes the right move to back out. There's no saving Olleh at this point. It's 5 members bot. So you're just trying to push elsewhere and get more back. But definitely does decide to try to hang around, see if there's any possibility of kind of joining in for an additional kill. But now back to live here, we can see Olleh getting caught out again. and pressured, and this is definitely just staying around way too long. You know, this turret is extremely low, and he just straight up walks up to the brush. Their team had not left. There's absolutely no reason to go for that.
When chasing down a Sivir with Skarner, you can fire your E at her immediately. If she doesn't spell shield it, you just run up to her, use your Q to break the spell shield that she'll inevitably use, stun her with that. If she does spell shield the E, well, great, cool, I'm just gonna ult you now. So you put her in a how do you wish to die type of moment, and there's no way for Deftly to get out of that. Like you already said, the right choice was to just never be there in the first place. Yeah. And now the Golden Guardians are down 0-5. They're down 2,000 gold. Hauntzer's not too afraid just yet, though. Contract's going to be moving up there with him. They're looking to start the fight onto Akaadian. It is a 2 versus 3, but it's a fight they're still not afraid to take. Reset. Akaadian's going to fall. That's the reset there for Hauntzer. Continues to look to take this fight further against Broken Blade in the top lane, but no real chance to do much with it. Golden Guardians, I like this aggro, even from behind. They recognize where they're strong, and they play around it.
Yeah, exactly. They got to play to the strong side now. Their bottom lane is very far behind, so move towards your really strong top lane, and they will be able to knock down this mid lane turret. Gold's still very close, despite the fact that TSM has been getting a lot more kills, because the additional tower has gone the way of Golden Guardians. They got a lot of turret plates as well, so things certainly still all right for them. 1,200 gold behind in the bottom lane is a bit concerning, but you have, you know, about an equivalent lead up on the top side. So it's really kind of just who can make more out of that lead. I would say certainly in this meta, we have been mostly seeing the bottom lane be having a better time converting their lead. You know, similarly to earlier today when we saw, you know, kind of this type of situation for FlyQuest where Viper had this big lead on the top side. It can be difficult to kind of really be able to make the most of that sort of advantage, and we'll see if Hauntzer can find any sort of a TP flank and really kind of get in on top of this team. Because that's what it feels like it will require for him to make the most of his lead, where all that really requires for Zven on the Caitlyn to kind of get something done is walk up to the turret, put down some traps, and start shooting the turret.
And for TSM, I also want to see this team stay cohesive, stay as a unit this time around, because yesterday against Optic, they had a similar situation where they were ahead. They had the Drakes, they had the control over the game and the momentum, and they were in charge. And it was a flank from Optic's rookie mid laner in Scarlet on the Vladimir that ultimately turned the tides of the game when TSM just wasn't all together. They weren't ready for that kind of an offensive coming out from their opponents. Golden Guardians have showed to us that they will go for an offensive play even when behind, and TSM needs to make sure they don't lose 2 games in the same weekend to the same type of play.
Yeah, they certainly do, and I think if TSM, you know, is grouped up, and especially if TSM doesn't have, you know, wards behind them, they can't get flanked, it becomes very difficult for Aatrox and these sorts of champions to run through the Caitlyn, through the Lux and the Azir and everyone and get in. So, you know, it is going to have to be, you know, more of that kind of difficult setup. And you can see that TSM, you know, has some wards down as a result of this. Like, when you see this ward here in mid lane, this ward is actually to protect against any potential TP flank. You know, that is because the turret is down. Bjergsen is going to be farming further ahead of that, so he doesn't want any potential ward behind him so that he walks up and push out the wave and all of a sudden he's TP'd on and dead, right? So they are trying to kind of check all those boxes, and they have 5 pink wards out on the map, which you always love to see. At the same time, you can see where the emphasis is for Golden Guardians right now. They want to get things done down here on the bottom side, and you can see all these wards being placed down here as a result. You know, pink ward here, pink ward here. They're kind of moving around their vision all in these areas, trying to now focus on turrets down here because they already have mid and top. And that is how you can often see where the pro teams want to make their plays. It's where they place their vision.
Golden Guardians now have a 3-1 turret lead, taking down all 3 outer turrets. Means they will have more easy access to the TSM side of the map. TSM will strike back here in the top lane, taking down that top lane tier 1 turret, what many consider to be the least important turret on the map. So Golden Guardians not super concerned about that one. The gold's still very close.
The top laners, flowers.
I mean, sometimes I've been in solo queue before where my top laner says, GG, let it die. I need to farm. Sometimes even the top laners don't want that thing.
That's true.
I'm pretty sure you've been there before.
Yeah, all it's going to do is push it back to them. You're already getting
It's like,
just
let me out, man. Let me just farm in my tier 2, have a good time. I'll see you guys in 20 minutes. But Golden Guardians are still in a pretty good spot here for themselves. They've got their Black Cleaver on the Aatrox. You're working on that next item for your Sivir as well. We all know about the 400 CS win condition on the Sivir, and you've also got Froggen on this champion in Anivia that he's so well known for. He's got the Archangel Staff. Rod of Ages is also charging. He's got these stacking items that will make him very powerful as long as he goes on long enough. And Smoothie's in the middle of a terrain pit, forced to flash over the wall.
He got walled and pillared just into this tiny little corner. He's just stuck in the Anivia ultimate. That is so annoying, and they are going to get his flash as a result. This is one of the things that I always feel like separates the good Anivia players from the great.
And here we go. That's going to be an initiation coming out from the side of the Golden Guardians, and they will pop Bjergsen.
Yeah, Bjergsen getting punished pretty heavily. Very fast flash there from Froggen, reacting immediately, so Bjergsen could not ult him in. And Bjergsen just gets knocked down. This will mean Infernal goes the way of Golden Guardians, but yeah, the great Anivia players, you'll always notice, are so good at finding picks and finding traps with their wall. That is something that I think really does take a lot of experience to kind of consistently pull off. It almost makes the champion feel like it's an engaged champion. It's kind of crazy. And knowing these ranges, finds the stun, waits until the stun is expiring, then walls Bjergsen in. Bjergsen goes for the engage, but Froggen had already immediately flashed out. That was very fast reactions from Froggen, so great pick by him. Gets him a kill and the Infernal.
And the important thing to note, at the end of that fight, Olleh throws out a hook that Akaadian then has to flash away from. Skarner with flash and Skarner without flash are two entirely different experiences to have to play around, especially considering no one on the Golden Guardian side has yet paid the QSS tax. They have so much less to worry about now for the next 5 minutes. Golden Guardians should feel comfortable taking advantage of these knockdown turrets that I mentioned, moving forward into TSM territory like this, sitting down some wards, clearing out some of that TSM vision.
Yeah, it's definitely a very good point. The initiation is so much less explosive without that flash, and you can really see the game plan here. I think, we talked about how difficult it is, kind of to engage directly into TSM. Rylai's, works along those lines as well here for the Azir. More additional slows, more disruption for these champions that want to kind of charge in at you. That kind of core 3 of those melee champions on Golden Guardians who will be looking to kind of push forward into TSM, and Rylai is going to help with that. But for now, it is Golden Guardians, vision. That's where they're going, and that is going to be all around this Baron. You can see this line of pink wards right along here. They have multiple pink wards in that area. TSM really has no vision in the pit. They have that lone pink ward in try near there. But, if Akaadian is the show in bottom lane, there is a potential that they can just start up the Baron. But right now, it's TSM trying to make it collapse here.
This has turned into quite a juxtaposition as Froggen is now going to find himself caught out. Mid laners out of position, the name of the mid game here, as Golden Guardians will lose their mid laner. They will lose that wave clear. Deftly will do what he can, but they will not hold on to the tier 1 mid lane turret, and that's a big move for TSM.
Yeah, that is really big, because they can actually threaten more than that. They can clear all this vision around the Baron. They can set up for themselves around there, and that kind of pushes Golden Guardians' game plan back a couple minutes once more. So great pick. No flash available on Froggen. He had Spellbook over to the Exhaust and the TP. So no way for him to get out of that one at all. And you can see, very impressive record for Bjergsen on Azir. Tends to be a pattern with Bjergsen and his LCS records on lots of different champions. The guy wins a lot.
Turns out when you're one of the winningest players in LCS, you win on a lot of different stuff. Who would have guessed? Bjergsen.
Ooh, he's got a good record on this.
A man who's earned his fistful of championship rings that he's currently in possession of.
And MVPs.
We'll see if he's able to bring this one home here with the rest of TSM. They're still commanding an ever so slight lead. Next Infernal Drake will be spawning here in 2 minutes. We are 24 minutes almost into the game, so that means Baron is live. And with all the damage capability on both these teams, with the crit marksman, with the high damage, sustained damage mid laners, Baron can easily be taken if somebody messes up too bad.
Yeah, it certainly can. And Froggen here closing in on death cap, that is going to be such a big buy for him. Needs about 800 more gold to complete that. Already has his 2 stacking items, as you pointed out earlier, but they are nearly fully completed. Seraph's is online, Roa just 1 stack away. So, when you do hit that 3-item death cap with 2 fully stacked items, the Anivia is going to be monstrously strong. If you cannot pull off that sort of initiation and get on top of Anivia and kill her off, she is going to be shredding through you.
I mean, the only person on this side of TSM that's going to be building any tank stats whatsoever, besides an Aftershock on Lux XD, is Akaadian Skarner. But look at the inventory. You've got the pieces of a Righteous Glory, which is health and armor. You've got a Cinder Hulk, which is health, and you've got Mercury Tread. So there, 20 magic resistance on your shoes. That's not exactly going to sustain you against a 400 AP Anivia. And Akaadian will have to be very, very careful.
Having some steel-toed boots to protect you from getting hit by a truck.
Or lava. one of the two.
Lava?
It's not going to work out very well, one way or the other.
I think lava sounds worse.
Yeah, probably. I mean, people have survived getting hit by a truck before. I don't know if anyone ever survived a volcano.
It depends how much lava, you know?
All right, I guess that's what we'll have to see how much lava Froggen is made out of this game. As Broken Blade takes about half his HP and damage there from Hauntzer in that bottom lane. Death's Dance Black Cleaver, no joke here on the Aatrox. And Olleh definitely not feeling too good after the damage there from TSM either. This long-range poke power, nothing to scoff at. As Bjergsen steps forward, raises up the Sun Disc for protection. Akaadian's on the front line there, but man, look at those shields. He has no reason to be afraid.
Yeah, very little room for error, honestly, for these two teams in their engages. If either team messes up, big stun, though!
Now it's going to start off here. We're going to see Smoothie go into the stasis here. Immediately, Zven also going to be keeping himself alive just for a moment. Smoothie taken down, also going to be Olleh traded away. TSM on the retreat. Akaadian's going to be taken down. Hauntzer's popping off. The wings of death fly through the TSM back lines, and it's a double kill for the Golden Guardians top laner.
And it's going to be straight to Baron for them as they only lost Olleh. All four of their most important members still alive. Bjergsen and Zven, I think they're going to make the call to give it up and take an Infernal. But that is a huge stun again from Froggen. He has been a monster this game, creating so much of the action for them with these initiations from the Anivia.
The Anivia setting up the plays. Hauntzer following it up with a few swoops of that giant sword to cut down TSM. Let's see it all again.
Yeah, here it is. Gets the stun on both the bottom laners. Smoothie and Zven both forced to Hourglass there. Smoothie flashes out, immediately dies after though, and then the ultimate was used onto Hauntzer, but he is going in. Q Flash gets the reset, chasing down on the Broken Blade. No escape for him, another reset, so no chance for Bjergsen and Zven to turn around and look for a fight there, and TSM up against it now. They do at least trade back the Infernal, so if they can survive the Baron buff, they have equalized in that regard.
Both parts of the Anivia Q, the Anivia E, and I think 1 or 2 ticks of the R took Smoothie 100 to 0. Or the heal kept him alive, but it would have been the equivalent of 100 to 0. This Anivia is an absolute monster at this point in the game. I'm pretty sure we're at a volcano's worth of lava at this point in time. And now they've got that Baron buff. Now we want to see what they can do with it. Baron power play currently at a bit under 2,000 gold as it hovers around that point, and Golden Guardians will build that number even higher, pushing down the bottom lane, 4 men strong here, seeing if they can take this to the TSM base. Tier 3 is going to be under siege. TSM, not enough bodies here in time, Azale, and Golden Guardians will put a lot of damage into this turret, might even be able to take it down.
Yeah, I think they're just going to get this one. I mean, Froggen's sitting at over 600 AP with 3 items, and they're going to go in.
Akaadian goes in, he grabs the enemy support, but he sacrifices himself for it. This is what I was talking about early on, Azale. One frontliner. If he messes up, all of a sudden the engage is gone. The ability to start these things off is gone. Contractz and Froggen continuing to look for more. They're able to find Smoothie and take him out. But it will be a 1-for-1 there. Deftly, Hauntzer, and Froggen. Now going to be pressuring onto the tier 3 into the mid lane as well. Froggen in some trouble. Critical positioning error will be heavily punished. And Bjergsen takes a triple.
Yeah, Golden Guardian's going to get wiped off the map as they go too far. Contractz flashing forward for a kill they already had. And then you see Froggen on the Anivia walking through, trying to get back to the rest of his team. He gets caught out.
Yeah.
Bjergsen with the triple kill, who is 7-1-2 now, quietly getting monstrously strong himself. And let's watch this one more time. Olleh very quick on the ultimate, so he gets the ultimate off on Akaadian before he gets grabbed. As Akaadian goes forward here, watch Olleh. As soon as the ult does go off, he has already triggered his, so the Skarner cannot actually back up at all and create any space to knock them down. Then, chasing forward, watch Smoothie here. He's going to get pillared in, and they are going to be looking for Smoothie. I do believe they would have been able to actually kill him without Contractz even going forward. It looks like he's very low. Yeah, I mean, he's already dead before Contractz actually flashes. then Froggen is separated from the rest of the team. Froggen maybe should have just tried to walk
flash over the wall.
Or flash through the wall, yeah. Instead, he holds on to that, thinking he can just walk back to the team, but he gets knocked down into the egg. And as the rest of the team tries to come in and bail him out, Bjergsen says, no, you don't. Shuffles them away. Hauntzer and Deftly cleaned up. And that is a critical mistake for Golden Guardians. That could have been potentially a game-winning push. You got 2 kills right there. You could have knocked down multiple inhibitors, and now they're going to get engaged on here once again.
On the hunt, used to make sure the Golden Guardians keep their distance, but you said it. We discussed at the beginning of this game how with the standings being so tight right now, with so many of the teams being so close to the top, only separated by a single game, you can't make these kinds of errors.
No.
These are the kinds of things that can prevent you from getting a win that you otherwise would have already earned for yourselves. Golden Guardians probably kicking themselves a little bit for that one, but still in a very close game here. 200 gold apart against TSM 30 minutes in.
Yeah, it just feels like in the league these weeks that we have been seeing in Summer Split, it is all down to execution. There's so many of these teams that are so closely matched that have the ability to take each other down, and you often do not get to make those kinds of mistakes and come out on top. We'll see if they're going to get punished because Skarner is waiting behind. They want to try to have a Skarner flank here as Bjergsen is going to rejoin with the team, and then I think they're going to trigger Akaadian to go in, perhaps around this dragon that is spawning in 20 seconds. But it's certainly the long con here for Akaadian. He has been here for quite some time, trying to get in a good position. He has to be careful, though, that he's not actually spotted out, because if he gets caught away from the team, but he's on Froggen!
He hits the back line. Froggen's going to be suppressed, pulled back towards TSM. Golden Guardians looking to turn the fight right back around. Akaadian going to be taken very low. Hauntzer takes him down, and now he's gone to Reset City. He'll go into the Resurrection. Contractz nearly killed himself. Definitely free-firing into the TSM lines, but he's going to be taken low, and Bjergsen is dominating. 2 dead on the side of the Golden Guardians. When in doubt, call for Bjergsen. The man knows how to carry.
He is refusing to lose this game, going in, knocking down multiple members at the end of that fight. Bjergsen, so strong at this point in the game, and definitely really felt like he had the strength to clean up that fight. He's on his 3 items, but now they are getting pushed in. They will lose at least 1 inhibitor. Contractz is doing the dragon at this point, so he will be able to trade the dragon back. Remember, the Baron is spawning here pretty shortly. The next dragon will be Elder, so it just gets more and more complex from this point.
What a game of tug of war between these 2 teams. Golden Guardians trying to hang on. TSM again, sneaking Akaadian through the back lines, through the vision. They did it once earlier in the mid game. They made it work here again to come around behind, catch Froggen by surprise. Froggen still no QSS on this Anivia to get out of these pulls.
Yeah, he didn't have the QSS, but he did survive the initial play, and they got the first kill. But despite that, they overchased, and now they're looking.
Now they're starting off. Bjergsen has to flash over the wall to keep himself alive. Olleh still looking to make it happen. You bring Bjergsen down, you're going to win yourselves the game, but Hauntzer's now the one who's going to be targeted. He has to flash out, but he's taken down. TSM have found a huge fight. The Golden Guardians bite off way more than they can chew, and they'll be absolutely annihilated.
They get shredded, but Froggen trying to turn this around. Look at the damage from Froggen!
Oh, but now it's nothing but a sunny side-up breakfast on the side brush of the red pit. That's Zven going on another kill for himself. Contractz healing up in the brush. Not really a match for Broken Blade 1v1, or maybe he is. Broken Blade trying to put some damage back down onto him.
He's gonna get him.
Contractz should be able to take him down here, and I am found wrong in my analysis. The Trundle takes down that Jayce. And now Skarner versus Trundle, 1v1. Skarner building full tank, not on a Skarner
He's got
Spire.
the Warmogs, he's
This is
healing
not
up.
a fight that Skarner wins. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that out there. Trundle is the one who wins this fight, but not unless he's alone. The only way you can win this is if you're fighting Skarner fair, and TSM is not about a fair fight. They'll look to hand this one over to Zven, put more money in the hands of the AD carry, but Contractz will waste as much time as he can before Bjergsen swoops in.
But that may have, potentially saved the game. He actually bought so much time, draws multiple members up to that top lane, gets a kill on Broken Blade.
Yeah.
But it is going to be the Baron, very likely going the way of TSM, so that is the cost here, as he died, and he died very late after the fight, so still 30 seconds on his spawn timer. Baron is now live. Will Golden Guardians elect to try to fight for this Baron or give it up? Because Froggen is over here. This is a dangerous spot. He's out by himself, and he has to be so careful because you have to feel like if Froggen goes down once more, the game is over. But it seems like Golden Guardians unwilling to give up this Baron. They are in the area here, but Broken Blade.
The traps. The traps mean that Golden Guardians have no way into this. TSM will take the Baron by force. They're now commanding quite an impressive lead. 3,500 gold. Baron up on everybody. Everybody alive on the Golden Guardians to try to defend this one. But TSM have been the ones finding plays and finding fights. When Golden Guardians tried to force that last one, it was just way too heavy-handed, and they got punished.
And more specifically, Bjergsen has been finding plays and finding fights. He has been so damn good. You know, on that last play, it felt like it was a good start to the fight again for Golden Guardians, but they get separated, split up by this Azir wall, and then, you know, when you're fighting into this choke, Azir, Caitlyn, Lux, all these champions are clogging it up and making it so difficult to actually get all the way into the fight. They get shredded down. And I do think Golden Guardians made the right call to give up the Baron, because while the Baron is very powerful, you still have really good wave clear, and the game can still end off of one team fight. If you can get one clean fight at 35 minutes, you can march it down and end the game.
And while we've been praising Bjergsen this entire time, and rightfully so, I also want to give props to Zven, who's quietly 2-0-13, no deaths so far in the game, highest farm of anyone, only recently eclipsed by Bjergsen by one single CS. He's been putting down the traps where they need to be, doing the DPS and the team fights. He's been having a fantastic game here for himself on the Caitlyn as well, and it might be what this team needs to push them into the Golden Guardians.
And that, I think, is Zven really, you know, at his best, is he's so consistent at pumping out damage, positioning well in team fights, always staying safe. That is kind of his hallmark, you know, as a really strong marksman player. TSM now looks like they are trying to set up. You can see this vision toggle. Golden Guardians can see very little outside of their base. The Elder is coming up in 25 seconds, and that is where TSM wants to go next. They are going to try to force Golden Guardians to attack into them without the vision, which becomes very difficult, because if you're face checking into a binding, into traps, into this pre-set up Azir, it's going to be a hell of a time getting through there.
So much easier for TSM to make their own play when Akaadian can wait for someone to fall into his trap. I've said it before, Skarner feels so good against diving styles of champions and compositions.
They can't do this.
They'll come right to you. Golden Guardians have no way to move towards these battle lines drawn by TSM, and TSM will take that Elder Drake. For the next minute, they have both buffs.
Yeah, there's just no way you can walk through a 6-item Azir with a Rylai's who has his ultimate up. There's just no chance you're actually getting through there. So you guys can hit up chat, vote on what ingredients you want to be in Mark or Crumb's smoothie, depending on the winner of this game. It looks pretty disgusting.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to drink that.
That's me too, but I was still voting for the worst possible ingredient.
Yeah, I know that you were trolling behind the scenes because when you told me about it, you were laughing about how much gross stuff you voted to put in the smoothie. It's like,
all right,
come
back
on,
to the
man.
game.
All right, back to the smoothie on our screens, and the rest of TSM breaking open the base here in the bottom lane. Golden Guardians will have to find their fight here soon. Otherwise, TSM will just run over these inhibitors, but you've got to respect the power of that Elder Drake.
Yeah, I think they might actually just try to be waiting it out, right? You try to wave clear as much as you can. Baron's almost gone.
Broken Blade, forced to flash over the wall. Bjergsen now retreating, almost able to take down that mid lane inhibitor.
Yeah, so no Baron buff anymore, so you can wave clear this out instantly. Golden Guardians want to actually avoid a fight. There's a minute left on the Elder, but they're going to win
Golden
now.
Guardians aren't going to be avoiding much of anything when they go fishing and land themselves a big one. Akaadian taken out. But now Olleh is incredibly low in the HP department. Got to be concerned about that one. Redemption coming in. Olleh will be topped off a little bit from that one. Hauntzer wants to approach from the top. However, there's no way into the fight when TSM can so easily disengage. Akaadian's the one guy you can really sink your fangs into. He's the one melee member. Everybody else will maintain distance and continue to do this.
Yeah, Golden Guardians able to get that one kill thanks to a nice wall. Some good play there from Froggen. As well as Contractz. They're using the terrain creation very, very well, and they kind of segmented off the rest of TSM, which allowed them to fight, but still, they don't want a committed fight into an Elder buff team. It's just so much added power to, you know, this full build Azir and nearly full build Caitlyn, who are already insanely strong at this point in the game, so they have to be really careful about that. They have waited out the buffs, and with the 2 super buffs, TSM only did knock down the one inhibitor, so Golden Guardians still are okay in this game. It really will just come down to who can actually get the final fight, who can knock down enough inhibitors to really secure it, because one inhibitor at 40 minutes doesn't matter. They have more than enough wave clear to take that down forever.
Ghost, not a ghost, but a speed up rather used as now Golden Guardians looking to find their engage here yet again. Flash over the wall to stay safe. Olleh having a flash out now, keeping himself alive. TSM disengaging this one, now looking for maybe an opportunity to continue to look for the fight. Contractz on the front line, Akaadian with the Righteous Glory, looking for the opportunity to engage. However, a nice disengage once again coming out from Froggen's Anivia. Sundisk going to be spawned up there. Golden Guardians retreating away. Don't want to fight on top of that one.
Yeah, the problem here is Olleh has to reset. The Baron's going to be up in 30, so you're going to need another spot where TSM has first kind of dibs on the Baron, right? They're going to get in this area. They're going to set up the trap line, and you'll have to try to walk through Bjergsen, which we already saw at the Elder Dragon. They cannot do. So Golden Guardians, just by losing that skirmish, may have given up another Baron, but now Bjergsen, he's looking like he may want to go in here. He's threatening at least.
He will be stopped. Froggen critically throwing up the wall to make sure Bjergsen can't do a double dash there with the Q and the E combined to get behind him and try to shuffle him away.
Oh, okay. You can see that the teleport is ready for Hauntzer. He's actually sitting in base. He wants to potentially go for a flank, but TSM is going to TP straight to the turret. Bjergsen can knock this down incredibly fast with Zven.
TSM just looking to out macro. That's going to be a 4-shot on the inhibitor turret. They'll take down the inhib itself. Golden Guardians struggling to rotate around and answer this in any capacity. Froggen's on the side. Contractz all alone in the jungle. He's going to be found out. Pulled back by Akaadian, taken down by Zven.
And that is Baron guaranteed to TSM now. You have no jungler. And TSM with the macro plays moving around the map. That was very intelligent stuff. Bjergsen TPs to that top lane. Zven already there as well. They knocked down the inhibitor almost instantly, and Contractz, is still trying to kind of stay around the Baron pit. He doesn't want to base and then have them just turn to the Baron, so he's trying to stay in area to threaten to stop there. But they're not together, they're not grouped up, and they are really struggling to deal with how well TSM is setting up around these carries and how well they're protecting them. It's got to be some sort of a pick, some sort of a grab from Olleh or Froggen. But TSM is playing it so safe, so calm, that they have not been able to find an advantageous fight for, it feels like, 15 minutes.
Somebody give me a Photoshop of one of those World's Strongest Man competitions where they're carrying the giant stone spheres, but the sphere is Summoner's Rift and the man is Bjergsen. He has been carrying this game himself so hard this time around, finding plays, finding opportunities, teleporting in there to make sure they're able to bring down that turret and that inhibitor instantly. This guy wants to bring TSM back to where they're at. I remember discussing yesterday.
Hauntzer to this.
Hauntzer trying to go forward. Zven is the target. Hauntzer still looking to find a little bit more damage on him. That's going to be a big pick if Golden Guardians are able to find it and secure the damage. Hauntzer looking to go even further. Now Akaadian's going to be the target, but Broken Blade is in the base of the Golden Guardians. Froggen will be the one trying to stop him. Needs to find the stun. Broken Blade's nearly able to take him down. Froggen with the clean outplay.
Froggen just erased Broken Blade off of the map. They get 2 picks, but at the same time, their base is shattered, so Golden Guardians are stuck on the defensive. Second Elder is spawning. Golden Guardians, I think, have to make a mad dash.
You have to.
You gotta go for this right now, because giving second Elder that double-powered buff to TSM would certainly spell doom.
This is a battle of the birds. Their bird has already showed that he is going to kick everybody's ass if he gets this thing again. You have got to make sure you get this buff. Put your bird in a spot where he can defend 1 versus 5 with that wave clear, and that's exactly what Golden Guardians are going for now. Smoothie's the only one from TSM, even in the area. There will be no contest for this aside from a laser. Golden Guardians, very glad to see that one didn't get stolen away, but now they've got to get back to base. Remember, Elder doesn't give you an empowered recall, so they have to wait the full timer and get back here to help Froggen defend this.
Yeah, and they will be able to do so. TSM, not feeling like they can try to contest, and it would have been way too risky to try to go over there, because if you die, again, post 40 minutes, the res timers are so long. You're very high level, it's very late in the game, so one death can really mean doom, especially if you are one of those critical carries. Credit to Golden Guardians for finding that pick on Zven. It didn't look like it was going to work out, but Hauntzer just hard committed to that, with the flash, with the move speed from his ulti. He was determined to chase down Zven, and Zven, wasn't thinking that he was actually in a position where they could get over onto him.
3 out of 4 of the carries, marksmen and mid laners this game, are at full build. Froggen's sitting at 2,500 gold in inventory, so only needs another 100 or so before he can turn that stopwatch into a full-fledged hourglass and be full build as well. We're getting to the point where people are not going to be any stronger. The top laners are full build except for upgrading the sashes into Mercurial Scimitars. The game has to end soon. We're hitting critical mass here where there's just no other alternative unless somehow all 10 players die. Elder Dragon alive as a buff for another 1 minute on the side of the Golden Guardians. Baron power play finishes about 1,400 gold negative for TSM, but honestly, the gold doesn't matter anymore.
And it's worth mentioning, Froggen decides, no, I'm not going for Zonias. He's going for more damage. So he grabbed Morelos as that 6th item. So, you know, this is kind of risk versus reward. Do you want the more defensive Zonias?
That's the chat Anivia.
If they're jumping on you, yeah, he's going pure damage. But it's going to be risky, and this is also risky here for Deftly. If he walks forward, he could just be dead.
Okay, all right, that was...
That's a clincher.
Yeah, that one could have been very bad very quickly. If he did not make the decision he did to put down that blue trinket into the brush, TSM will be found out there attempting to make that camp. 25 more seconds have the Golden Guardians on this Elder Drake before it expires. TSM happy to just wait that out. Same thing Golden Guardians tried to do earlier in the base. TSM wants to do now. No reason to fight when they have that edge.
Yeah, the Golden Guardians aren't really being able to get anything done with this at all, right? Which is somewhat concerning because they're worried about potential backdoor. There's only one Nexus turret. All their inhibitors are open. They're very worried about how they even engage. So great, you have this added power, but how do you get through TSM into their backline? That has been
quite a question.
The constant struggle for them, and it feels like without some sort of a flank, I don't think they can do it. I think it's pretty much just impossible to run straight at TSM and win a team fight. As they have shown, Bjergsen and Zven positioning so well, and the rest of the squad just kind of clogging up these little corridors that TSM is trying to force you to engage through. So it's got to be some sort of a pick. It's got to be some sort of a flank from Golden Guardians. But they know if they can just hang around, one mistake from TSM could spell doom in this game, could mean that you just walk down mid and end the game, and you get to sit with the gray screen and watch as it happens.
This is where both heroes and zeros are made. You have the ability in your hands as any one player on the Rift in a 47-minute game to be the sole reason your team wins or your team loses. The pressure is on. Let's see what they can do here as both teams set up shop in the middle of the map. Broken Blade in the bottom lane, split pushing on the Jayce, TP ready to go. Hauntzer, no TP available on the Aatrox to answer him. Golden Guardians are just going to be kept at bay right now by TSM.
They've got to engage.
You have to either engage right now or go back and stop Broken Blade because he's about to hit the base.
Yeah, okay, so they're going to send Hauntzer down. You know, that was certainly a bit of a delayed reaction, but Broken Blade will back off. Hauntzer can get down there quickly enough, and ooh, that is a bit of a scary recall.
Yeah, that was
definitely not going to be canceling that one, but he is down back to the bottom lane. He has his TP available, so they're going to have him actually answering Broken Blade because Hauntzer's TP wasn't up, and the Baron is live. But again, Golden Guardians now have to funnel through these areas. There's the trap setup. Here's Bjergsen sitting on his tower, and Golden Guardians look like they want to get Bjergsen.
Olleh is going to engage, but it's only onto Akaadian. That's the frontliner. That's the one guy you don't want to be engaging onto. You have no AD carry. Your support is dead, and things are grim for the Golden Guardians.
Yeah, they wanted to go for that, but Akaadian just blocking his path, so he couldn't actually get the hook onto Bjergsen, and his parries weren't in the area to actually follow up anyway. Sivir was not there. This is going to mean yet another Baron going the way of TSM, and they will have this Baron buff for when the second Elder spawns again. Third Elder of the game, but they're actually looking like they want to fight. Be careful.
Golden Guardians trying to go for something here. Froggen flashing away from Akaadian, keeping himself from getting grabbed. Hauntzer looking for some damage onto Bjergsen there in the back line. Golden Guardians still looking to maybe take the fight even further. Froggen's going to be taken low, gets himself away. Golden Guardians disengaging now, still 14 seconds before Olleh is back alive. But here comes the Burger King. Around from behind, the Golden Guardians find themselves routed. Froggen's going to be taken very low. Goes into the egg now, they'll have to try to protect him. Golden Guardians grouped up, trying to play Protect the President. The VIP is down, and Bjergsen will again find his mark. Broken Blade kills Contractz, and the Golden Guardians stand 3v5, 2v5, 1v5. TSM chasing into the base. Deftly the last man standing, and Zven will keep him in the fountain. TSM are on the victory march after 49 minutes, the longest game of Summer Split. TSM will take down the Golden Guardians.
And what a performance by Bjergsen, even finding the teleport flank to end the game, getting behind Froggen, corralling him into the rest of the team. That was one of the best Azir games you are ever going to see. That was an insane performance from the TSM carries. Zven, only 1 death, 2 on Bjergsen. TSM, once they got online, Golden Guardians just could not find ways to get into the fight. They could not find a way to get a flank or to engage through all these traps and the Lux binding and the Azir wall. That was honestly really well played out by TSM, but credit to Golden Guardians for keeping it close for 50 minutes.
Golden Guardians held on as long as any team could be expected to hold on for, but the composition of late game area control with the Azir and the Caitlyn and the Lux, we discussed it so much in Champion Select about how important it was going to be, and sure enough, the traps kept Golden Guardians away from the objectives. Bjergsen was able to keep everybody scared from even going near the team fight thanks to the soldiers with the Rylai's like you talked about. This team synergized so well together. And hey, Akaadian, he's on the board.
Yeah, Akaadian gets his first win, and that's going to be feeling really good. And you know, as easy as it can look sometimes when you're watching that game, you're saying, oh, well, yeah, of course they can't engage through. You know, you have to give so much credit to TSM for keeping track of the Golden Guardians' vision, for not allowing for teleport flanks, for not allowing for these dark areas on the map where Golden Guardians could catch them by surprise, because that only has to happen once for that game to end.
It was a war, but TSM came out on top. Now, before we see the results of the Smoothie bet, Pastry is standing by with a smoothie of his own for an interview. Take it away.
That's right, I'm here with TSM support Smoothie. My goodness, the longest game of the split so far. How do you even navigate such a game?
I mean, obviously we didn't navigate. We took like 20 more minutes than we probably should have to end that game with the advantage we had, so kind of sucks, but at least we got the win.
Certainly a hard-fought one, but let's turn our attention now, of course, to Rift Rivals. So you guys will be one of the representatives from North America. How are you feeling kind of stacking up against some international competition?
I think all the 3 NA teams are pretty good right now. TL, us, and C9. Obviously, after this week's games, we're looking kind of shaky, but I think from scrims and stuff, we're a pretty good team still, and I think that it'll match really well against the EU teams.
And then, of course, you'll have the honor, perhaps, of playing up against the old TSM support. Mithy is coming over this time on Origin. Are you looking forward to playing against him in particular, or any of the bottom lanes in particular?
I think G2's bottom lane, obviously, one MSI, they're really great, and I was always really good friends with Mithy already when he was in NA, so looking forward to versing him too, for sure.
So, you know, friends on the Rift, that's for sure. Smoothie, thank you so much. Congratulations on the win today, and best of luck at Rift Rivals. That is our time with Smoothie. It's now time for Smoothie time on the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Damn right. Thank you, Pastry Time and Smoothie, for bringing us to Smoothie Time here on the desk. As you at home know, while TSM picks up the victory here, that this 4th game of the day was our weekly wager, in which Mark predicted Golden Guardians to come up with the win, and Crumbs took TSM. You at home voted on what ingredients would be joining this fine here blend of strawberry and banana smoothie.
Oh.
So there are the results. Anchovies, fish sauce, and blue cheese will be the 3 added ingredients to the smoothie, which I have up here with me, just so everybody can take a quick look. Mark,
can I get a
hamburger was close there.
I'm actually not that upset with this.
Oh, you're gonna be upset.
I like blue cheese.
All right, my friends, it's time to make a smoothie.
I'm glad hamburger lost by 15%.
All right, what do we go first? Anchovies in first?
Put them all in.
Actually, no, get the cheese.
Well, I mean,
get the cheese
go
in
in there.
Just get them all
You're
in.
gonna have the cheese marinade in there.
The cheese is gonna add some nice texture, Mark. I can feel it. Yeah.
I can see it getting blended.
Oh,
and
beautiful.
creamy and maybe a little chunky.
Don't do all the fish sauce. Somebody backstage is looking out for you.
Thank
there
you,
you
backstage.
go. Just a little bit.
Oh, that's
a little more. Okay.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, my producers are keeping me in check here. All right, let's move all that out of the way.
Let's
get this back on here. All right.
I think I've lost every.
Mark, would you like a puree, a pulse,
as smooth
or
as possible,
what would you like?
Blend the hell out of it.
Let's go here on the medium.
I can see the anchovy.
So while we let this work
yeah.
itself out, how'd you feel about the Golden Guardians draft over there, Mark?
I thought their draft was very hard to execute, James. I thought that they have not many ways to engage on a very long-range poke comp. Nautilus is pretty much their only form of engage, and they have to run right at them.
I feel like that's
That
good.
draft-
You feel like that's good?
I think it looks very
That looks
pretty.
great, too.
Yeah, it looks
All right.
beautiful. Kept its color.
I'll
Let me
finish
help
with
you
color.
out. Let me help
It's
you
just
out.
the one
looks
out
like a
here,
normal
one out here.
smoothie.
Does this just, it's your blender, right? Does this is
yeah,
gonna
there
work
you
for
go.
me? No
No,
problem.
you should lift it.
Oh, I have to
There
lift
you
it?
go.
What is
There you
this?
That's probably not too bad.
Yeah,
That's
that
not
is
too bad.
gorgeous
That's not
looking,
too bad.
looking smoothie there. Pass that down,
Here you
please.
go.
I gotta get
I
my,
like it.
No.
All right.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Let me get my pizza bucket
Not
ready,
bad at all. It's
just in case.
so
Beautiful.
much. You're actually gonna enjoy it.
All right.
You're actually gonna like
Let
it.
me know how it is. Is it as good as Golden Guardians draft?
Oh my God, I almost swore. It's so salty.
Salty? Well, yeah, anchovies, cheese, and fish
There's
sauce
2 fishes in
all
here.
have very high sodium content, so I am not surprised that that's hitting you.
It's like me after that game. I'm very salty.
Salty Mark, let's
What
go.
do you-
Hey, but things started well for TSM. If we talk about their bot lane, it's been the Lux and the Caitlyn all summer split long that have been worked for them as an aggressive lane.
It looked amazing for TSM. Early on, I was loving it. I was fist pumping in the air. Thinking,
Yeah.
TSM's got this. But then all of a sudden, they struggled so much in closing out this game that it dragged on to like 50 minutes. And I remember Zven quoting, if you're a team and you can't close in right now, you're not very good. What's up? What's up with that? Because making 5-man plays for only Olleh seems like a bit of an overcommitment.
It's very fishy. what happened this
Yeah,
game.
very suspicious behavior indeed.
Very questionable, very fishy early game out of Golden Guardians. But I actually thought that they were going to be able to come back in this game based off Froggen.
Yeah.
Because as bad as the bot lane was going, the gold lead wasn't super big. Hauntzer was actually doing a good job on the top side. This looked like Deftly was mad at me and wanted me to smooth.
Yeah, that must have been it. No, I mean, I think it's an important thing to call out that both the length of this game, you know, kind of dictates that neither team was super clean, within it.
That's what I was banking on. I was thinking this game is going to go late, and when you go late, Golden Guardians' decision-making has been suspect. And when they go into the base and just randomly give all their kills away after they got an inhibitor, and then when Olleh keeps overstepping, and when they keep doing all sorts of weird things, I'm just happier and happier by the minute because I know that I don't have to drink that.
Well, but don't lie, because there were so many moments within watching
I thought I was going to be
that
right.
everyone here was concerned. Exactly. Mark was running laps around the desk.
Not in
Crum was
celebration.
just,
That was in-
head in
that was in
hands.
panic.
No, that was a panic.
This was a question mark for me because Bjergsen could have flashed out, but instead engages right away, and he's like the star of the team here. And then once again, a Froggen finds a ridiculous double stun into the bottom lane, immediately forcing 2 Zhonya's out, and that looked huge for Golden Guardians. Bjergsen wasn't enough to salvage this one because then Hauntzer, who was 3-0 from laning phase, was popping off, but still Golden Guardians closing out was not there.
They got the first Baron in the
strong suit.
game. There was going to be, 3 more?
We had to go to multiple Barons, Elder Drakes in order to get this thing closed, and ultimately it was TSM who came out on top. You know, one thing that we haven't talked about, again, while the win was maybe not as clean as it could have been, this was a victory for TSM with Akaadian in the lineup. And ultimately, as we've talked in the past, the records skew well in favor of Greg, but I think it's important for team morale and for Akaadian himself, as he's been pretty vocal about being unhappy about his personal performance so far this split.
I think he's going to be very happy that he found the win. However, upon looking into this game and the way it unfolded, I think he's not going to be happy with his own performance. A stronger team would have punished his positioning significantly more and would not have made these mistakes. Look at that.
Speaking
they just
of
got a
positioning,
hit and literally gave away 4 kills. You have a Baron. Your mid lane inhibitor is about to go down. That was a game-winning push, and they just handed it right back. They're playing tennis, not League of Legends. Just like, here you go.
How you doing on that smoothie there, Mark?
I bet if you gave me enough time, I could finish it, but it's definitely not a chug because it's weird. So
What are you trying to say about my smoothie making skills, Mark?
Texturally, it's great, James.
You trying to?
Texturally,
okay,
it's
good.
great.
All
Are
right,
there no
texturally,
anchovy?
we hit the nail on the head.
I'm not getting any like clumps or anything weird. And then it's very salty, and then the saltiness gives way to a very disgusting fish flavor. It just tastes like fish in my. It looks like if you walk past a fish mart and just like lick the entire thing.
Right.
That's what my tongue.
You know, if analysis doesn't work out for you, food criticism might be the way for you to go. That was a very visceral image of exactly what that tastes like.
You want to try it?
I was going to say, well, are you just going to go out? I was going to pour you your own glass. You just want to pour. I have 2 glasses here, Crumbs, if you'd like to partake. Oh, my God, this stupid. Who puts this on the top of a. All right, here we go.
That's not too bad. Why do you think I'm going to
You
go
have to actually make sure you coat your tongue with this so you get the aftertaste. If you just swig it back, you're not going to.
Let's
all 3 together.
It smells like
cheers, my friends.
Cheers, guys.
2019
TSM
reserve. 2019
and all the dumpstering they're going to do at Rift Rivals.
Oh.
That is
Disgusting.
very salty and fishy. My God.
Just wait for the aftertaste. That's the worst part.
Woo! Blue cheese and fish. That is all I got in there.
I don't get any blue cheese.
I think I got legitimate chunks of blue cheese. That's probably why. We're going to head to a break. When we return, it's Echo Fox versus Optic Gaming. Don't go anywhere. Yeah.
As he's going up mostly against tank junglers and big Olleh.
Good Lord, man.
Look, guys, here.
Yeah, we got it, don't worry. Nice. It's bot. I think 80 guys bot too. Yeah. Nice. Don't flash Anivia, he can't play now.
We need a seer in the back.
I can't walk up.
Jayce no flash, Jayce
Yeah,
no
go
flash.
with Aatrox.
Jayce no flash.
Yeah, nice.
Azir no flash.
Now going to be pressuring onto the tier 3 into the mid lane as well. Froggen in some trouble. Critical positioning error will be heavily punished. Froggen will be the one trying to stop him. Needs to find the stun. Broken Blade's nearly able to take him down. Froggen! Broken Blade kills Contractz. And the Golden Guardian stand 3v5, 2v5, 1v5. TSM chasing into the base.